Good morning, friends. Today, let us begin with fiber reinforced composites. So, initially, I'll be discussing on a definition of a composite. So, what is a composite? So, composites are engineered materials. So, why are composite engineered materials? You will be able to appreciate at the end of this course, right? For now, you just keep in mind that the composites are engineered materials. And the composites, which are engineered materials, it consists of two or more constituent materials. How many constituents are present in a composite? It is two or more constituent materials. And what are the properties of this two or more constituent materials? The properties of these two or more constituent materials are such that they are significantly different in terms of their physical and chemical properties, right? So composites are engineered materials. The composite consists of two or more constituent materials, and these two or more constituent materials are having significantly different physical or chemical properties. And when these two or more constituent materials with significantly different physical or chemical properties are combined, the final product, that is composite, that is obtained will have properties that cannot be achieved when either of the constituents is used alone. So that is mentioned here, that the composites consists of two or more constituent materials with significantly different physical or chemical properties, which when combined produce material with characteristics different from individual components. So the characteristics of the composite, which is a combination of these two or more constituent materials, will be different from these two or more constituent materials. The properties of the composite will be such that properties cannot be achieved when I use only one of the constituents of the composite alone, right? So this is the definition of the composite. The composite will utilize the advantages of each of the individual constituents, right? And that is why the properties of the composites will be different from that of the individual constituent materials, which are usually a raw material for the production of composite. Now next, we have seen that the composite consists of two or more constituents. Now these two constituents, they retain their identities, right? So if I give a composite to you, you can clearly say that this is one of the constituent of the composite and this is the other constituent of the composite, right? I will explain it in a bit more detail. That is, they do not dissolve or merge into each other. Now consider an example of a salt in water. Now when I pour a salt in water, what happens is that the salt, it completely mixes with water, right? It can completely diffuses inside the water. You cannot distinguish between which is salt and which is water once the salt is dissolved in the water, right? But for composite, it is not that way. When I show you a composite, you can clearly say that this is one of the constituent of the composite and this is the other constituent of the composite. You can clearly distinguish between the constituents of a composite. But when I tell you an example of a salt in water or a sugar in water or simply a common salt, like if I give you a common salt, then it is a combination of a sodium and chloride. The molecules of sodium and the molecules of chloride combine to produce a compound NaCl. You cannot tell physically by seeing a salt that this ये salt का area है वो sodium का है, ये salt का area है that वो chlorine का है या chloride का है, right? You cannot tell by physically saying which of it is a sodium and which of it is a chloride, right? But in composite you will always be able to distinguish between the constituents of a composite. आप clearly बता पाओगे कि ये वाला जो पार्ट है ये एक कंस्टिट्यूएंट है और ये वाला जो पार्ट है ये दूसरा कंस्टिट्यूएंट है. Okay, so that is what is mentioned in this second line, that is the constituents retain their identities, that is they do not dissolve or merge into each other, and they act in concert. Though they do not dissolve or merge into each other, though they do not diffuse into each other, but they act together. They act together to give the better properties in the ultimate product, that is a composite. Now this is what I was saying, that normally the components can be physically identified. You can physically identify the constituents of a composite and they exhibit an interface between each other. What is an interface? It is a zone across which the reinforcement and matrix interact. In a layman's term, right, for your understanding, it is a zone बिटवीन दी रीइंफोर्समेंट एंड मैट्रिक्स, जहां पे मैट्रिक्स खत्म होता है और जहां से फाइबर स्टार्ट होता है, जहां पे एक कंस्टिट्यूएंट खत्म होता है और जहां से दूसरा कंस्टिट्यूएंट स्टार्ट होता है, उसके बीच में जो जोन है, दैट जोन इज नोन एज इंटरफेस. सो द रीइंफोर्समेंट एंड मैट्रिक्स दे एग्जिबिट एन इंटरफेस बिटवीन ईच अदर. Further, now this is the scanning electron microscope image of a composite, right? So in this you can clearly see that there are two constituents in a composite. These two constituents of a composite are a reinforcement and a matrix. So you can see the reinforcement is in fibrous form, right? And the matrix is usually in a form of a polymer, or it is a solidified polymer. Okay, so the constituents of a composite, from the scanning electron microscope image you can see that there are two constituents in a composite. One is the reinforcement, so this continuous fiber are reinforcement, right? And this is a matrix. Okay, so these are the fibers. This is one of the constituents of the composite. It is also known as reinforcement. Why it is known as reinforcement, I will let you know. And the other zone is a matrix. Okay, so we will look into the characteristics of reinforcement and matrix. You can see that there is a reinforcement, then there is a matrix, again there is a reinforcement, again it is surrounded by matrix, right? So fiber reinforced composite consists of fibers of high strength and modulus. We were speaking that composite में कितने constituents हैं? Two or more constituents हैं. Usually two constituents हैं. The one constituent of a composite is a fiber of high strength and modulus. As we are discussing on fiber reinforced composite, one of the constituent of the composite is a high strength and modulus fibers, right? The fibers of high strength and modulus. These fibers of high strength and modulus are embedded in or bonded to a matrix. तो इस मैट्रिक्स के अंदर हमने क्या किया है? We have inserted the reinforcement inside the matrix, or we have embedded the reinforcement inside the matrix, and there is a distinct interface. You can clearly see, you can clearly say by physically seeing that this is the reinforcement and this is the matrix. There is a clear-cut distinct interface between the reinforcement and matrix, or there is a clear-cut boundary between the reinforcement and matrix. So that is what is mentioned here. Fiber reinforced composite, it consists of fibers of high strength and modulus embedded in or bonded to a matrix with distinct interfaces or boundaries between them. The continuous phase is known as matrix and the discontinuous phase is known as reinforcement. Here, though the fiber is continuous, right? It is not a short fiber. Though the fiber is a continuous fiber, right? It is known as a discontinuous phase, and the matrix which is present throughout the composite is known as a continuous phase. And why it is so, we will discuss in subsequent slides. Now let us discuss into two main constituents of a composite. The first main constituent in a composite is a matrix phase, and as I was saying, that matrix phase is a continuous phase, it is also called as the primary phase. Now what is the function of the matrix? First let us see the two different constituents. Right, you can see here the dark blue. So this dark blue here is a matrix phase. Here the lighter blue portion, it is a matrix phase, right? And this matrix phase, inside this matrix phase there is a another phase or another constituent of a composite, which is a disperse phase. I was saying that composite consists of two or more constituents. So these two constituents are, one is the matrix phase, you can see here the blue color one, and here the light blue color one, right? So that is a matrix. And the second phase is a dispersed phase or a reinforcing phase, or in fiber reinforced composite it will be a fibrous phase. So these fibers, you can see these four different fibers here. So these fibers are the second constituent of a composite. You can see here these blue color lines, right, across the width of the matrix, right? So these are the secondary phase, right? Here it is a discontinuous fiber oriented in all the possible direction. So this is the second phase of the composite or second constituent of the composite. The first constituent of the composite is a matrix, and matrix is a continuous phase. You will see that the matrix is present throughout the composite. That is why it is called as a continuous phase, and it is also a primary phase. Why primary phase? Because we have to put the secondary phase, or we have to put the reinforcement inside the matrix to enhance the property of matrix. मैट्रिक्स की प्रॉपर्टी इंप्रूव करने के लिए हम उसमें क्या कर रहे हैं, हम उसमें रीइंफोर्समेंट डाल रहे हैं. तो प्राइमरी फेज क्या हुआ, किसकी प्रॉपर्टी हम इंप्रूव कर रहे हैं, मैट्रिक्स की इंप्रूव कर रहे हैं. सो मैट्रिक्स इज अ प्राइमरी फेज. एंड किससे इंप्रूव कर रहे हैं, बाय एडिंग द डिस्पर्स फेज और reinforcing phase. That is why it is called as a secondary phase, right? And why continuous? Because it is present throughout the composite. Why the reinforcement or disperse phase is called as discontinuous, I will tell you in the next slide. So in this slide, let us look into the function of the matrix phase. So what is the function of the matrix phase? The function of the matrix phase is that the matrix holds the dispersed phase in particular orientation and in separation. Now you are clear that for a constituent, or sorry, for a composite, there are two constituents. One is the matrix phase and other is the dispersed phase. So what does the matrix phase do? Matrix phase holds the dispersed phase in particular orientation and separation. You can see all the fibers here are aligned in this direction, right? All the fibers are aligned in this direction. And why they are aligned only in this direction here? Because the matrix is holding them in that particular orientation. You can see here all the fibers here are aligned in this direction, and they are held in that particular orientation because of presence of matrix. Here you can see that the fibers are aligned in all possible directions, right? But they are held in that particular orientation because of presence of matrix. Matrix helps them maintain their orientation. And what does matrix do? Matrix keeps them in a separation. यहाँ पे सारे fibers एक साथ है क्या? नहीं. There is a gap between them, and that gap between the reinforcement or the gap between the dispersed phase is filled by means of a matrix. Okay. So now we have discussed one of the function of the matrix to keep the fibers in a particular orientation and separation. What is separation? Is it clear? See, now this fiber and this fiber, they are separated by matrix. Again, this fiber and this fiber, they are separated by matrix. Similarly, anywhere you see in between the two fibers, there will be a presence of matrix. Ideally, that should be the case. Is it okay? Right. So the second function of matrix is to transmit and distribute stresses among individual fibers. Now, suppose this is a composite, and if I apply a load on this composite, okay, and suppose some of the fibers are taking more load and some of the fibers are taking a less load. So the stress has to be evenly distributed among the fibers. So how a stress will be transferred from one fiber to the other fiber, right? The stress from one fiber to the other fiber is transmitted through matrix, right? So matrix acts as a transmitter as well as the distributor of stress among the dispersed phase. Is it okay? So the matrix is responsible for keeping the fibers in particular orientation. It is responsible for keeping the fibers in separation, as well as it is responsible for transmitting and distributing the stresses among the individual fibers. Now you can see that the fibers are enclosed inside a matrix, right? The fibers are enclosed inside a matrix. They are shielded by the matrix. So matrix shields the fiber, and thereby it protects the fibers from abrasion, moisture or other environmental conditions. That is, the dispersed phase or reinforcing phase is shielded, or it is enclosed inside the matrix, and thereby matrix is able to protect it from abrasion. It is able to protect it from moisture, as well as it is able to protect it from other environmental conditions. And finally, it decides the maximum service temperature of the composite, right? So matrix decides the maximum service temperature of the composite. In a composite, usually the melting point of the reinforcement or this dispersing phase is higher than the matrix phase. Is it okay? Right. And thereby the application in which the composite is being used, right, it is limited by the melting temperature of the matrix phase. Okay, so it decides the maximum service temperature of the composite. The matrix phase, it decides the maximum service temperature of this composite. So now we have discussed on the different functions of the matrix phase, right? First is to keep the fibers in separation and particular orientation, right, to transmit the stresses between the fibers and to protect the fibers from abrasion, moisture and other environmental condition, and to decide the maximum service temperature of the composite. Is it okay? Now let us look into the function of the reinforcing phase. The second phase of the composite is known as the dispersed phase, or it is also called as the reinforcing phase. It is a discontinuous phase and it is called as a secondary phase. Why secondary phase? Because this phase is inserted into some other phase. That other phase is a matrix. Here the fibers are inserted inside this matrix to enhance the properties of the matrix, right? Okay. So this second phase is embedded in the matrix. So this second phase which is embedded in the matrix is known as the second phase which is embedded in the matrix is known as the dispersed phase or reinforcing phase. Okay. Now dispersed phase is usually stronger than the matrix. So this dispersed phase which is inserted inside the matrix is usually stronger than the matrix, right? And thereby it is called as the reinforcing phase. It is reinforcing the property of the मैट्रिक्स विच इज रिलेटिवली वीक. जो मैट्रिक कमजोर है उस मैट्रिक्स की प्रॉपर्टीज कौन बढ़ा रहा है? उसकी प्रॉपर्टीज बढ़ा रहा है रीइंफोर्समेंट, राइट, और fibrous reinforcement. It is reinforcing it is making the weaker material stronger, thereby it is reinforcing that weaker material, and thereby it is called as the reinforcing phase. It contributes to high strength and modulus to composites, providing resistance to bending and breaking under the applied load. Now you have seen different functions of matrix, like to keep the fibers in separation, to keep the fibers in particular orientation, right, to transmit the stresses, to protect the fibers. So what is the contribution of the reinforcement then, or a dispersed phase then? The contribution of the reinforcement is that it enhances the, or it provides the strength and modulus to the composite. It provides high strength and modulus to composite, and thereby the composite will be able to withstand the stresses such as bending and breaking under the applied load. Now let us see why it is called as a discontinuous phase. Now you can see that this is the fiber. This fiber is continuous from here to here, right? Then this is the other fiber. This fiber is continuous from here to here. Now this is the fiber. This fiber is also continuous from here to here. Now these are all discontinuous fiber, छोटे छोटे length के fibers है. So here it is very clear that this is a discontinuous phase. Now here the fiber is continuous from this point to this point, but is the fiber from this point joining to this fiber? No, there is a gap between these two fibers, right? That is why it is called as a discontinuous phase. Whereas the matrix will be present throughout the composite. वो fibers के around जाएगा and then it will again join a matrix. It will move around the fibers and it will again join the matrix. It will completely surround the fiber. There will be a complete continuity between the matrix, right? But in case of fibers, you can see that from here to here the fiber is continuous, but इसके बाद gap है. That is why it is called as a discontinuous phase. Even though this fiber is a continuous in this composite, right? But there is a gap between the neighboring two fibers. That is why it is called as a discontinuous phase. Here there is no question because all the fibers are shorter in nature, they are discontinuous in nature, so you can clearly understand why it is called as a discontinuous phase. Right. So now moving on to the next slide. Next we will see into what is an interface. So interface is a zone across which the matrix and reinforcing phases interact, right? So this interaction between the matrix and the reinforcement can be either by means of a chemical way, can be either by means of a physical way, or it can be either by means of a mechanical way. So it is a zone across which the matrix and reinforcing phases interact. जहां पे मैट्रिक्स खत्म होता है और जहां से फाइबर शुरू होते हैं, उन दोनों के बीच में जो जोन है, that zone is known as the interface zone. Are you getting it? So the point at which the matrix ends and the point at which the fibers begin, in between that zone, in between that, or the area between the end of the matrix and the beginning of the fibers is known as the interface. So interface is the zone across which the matrix and the reinforcing phases interact, right? There will be certain kind of van der Waals bonds between the reinforcement and matrix. So the details of that we will be discussing later, right? So this interface zone is a very important zone. It is the zone between the reinforcement and matrix, or it is the zone across which the reinforcement and matrix interact, or it is the zone in between the end of the matrix and beginning of the reinforcement, right? And there is a van der Waals bonding. There is a certain kind of interfacial bond between the reinforcement and matrix, right? And this zone across which the reinforcement and matrix interact either in a chemical, physical, or mechanical way is known as the interface. Now keep in mind that the localized stresses are highest at or near interface, right? Interface में क्या होगा, सबसे ज़्यादा stress जो composite पे आएगा, that will be highest at this zone, that is the zone between the reinforcement and matrix. And load transfer depends on the physical and chemical properties of the interface. So the interface has to be strong in some applications. कोई application में load transfer बहुत अच्छा चाहिए. So in that case, this zone or this interface between the reinforcement and matrix should be very strong. That is, the transfer of load from matrix through the interface to the reinforcement should be very high. But there are certain applications in which the interface has to be weak, right? So those applications we'll be discussing later, right? And thereby the load transfer depends on physical and chemical properties of this interface. So now let us look into the requirements for a material to be called as a composite, right? I cannot call any material as a composite, okay? So there are certain requirements for a material to be categorized as composite. The first requirement is that there has to be a matrix phase and the reinforcement phase. So जो composite है उसमें दो या उससे ज़्यादा phases होने चाहिए, but at least दो phase तो होने चाहिए. So what are these two phases? These two phases are matrix phase and the reinforcement phase. Second thing is that there has to be a distinct interface between the fiber and the matrix. So fiber और matrix के बीच में क्या होना चाहिए? There has to be a distinct interface. Now for example, sugar in water is not a composite since there is no distinct interface. उन दोनों के बीच में कोई distinct interface नहीं है. Are you getting it? If you dissolve sugar in water, you won't be able to separate what is sugar and what is water. similarly, I give you an example of sodium chloride. You physically, by seeing a common salt, you cannot say that this part of a salt is sodium and this part of a salt is a chloride, right? So you cannot physically distinguish between the sodium molecules and the chlorine molecules of a sodium chloride compound, right? So there is a distinction between a compound and a composite. In a composite, there will be a distinct interface between the fiber and matrix, right? But in a compound, the two molecules which are forming a compound, they will diffuse into each other. We won't be able to clearly identify physically the different molecules when you see it physically. Is it clear? So there has to be a distinct interface between the fiber and matrix. And third criteria for a material to be called as composite is that there should be a much higher difference in the modulus of the reinforcement and matrix. तो जो reinforcement and matrix है उनके modulus में क्या होना चाहिए? Drastic difference होना चाहिए. There has to be a drastic difference between the modulus of reinforcement and matrix. The modulus of reinforcement should be at least 10 times higher than that of the matrix. Now, for example, I am taking these two materials, nylon and polyethylene. Suppose polyethylene is a matrix here, right? And nylon is in the form of fibers. Now this nylon, which is in the form of fibers, is embedded inside this polyethylene matrix. Now these two materials are having different chemical properties. These two materials are having different physical properties. They have been combined together, and they are also showing a distinct interface between each other. But can I call it as a composite? No, because the modulus difference between the nylon and polyethylene is not that much high. The modulus difference should be at least 10 times higher. Are you getting it? So the modulus of the reinforcement should be at least 10 times more than that of the matrix. So these are the requirements for a composite, right? That is, there has to be a matrix phase and the reinforcement phase, and there has to be a distinct interface between matrix phase and reinforcement phase. Like sugar in water is not a composite, salt in water is not a composite. In fact, a common salt is not a composite because you cannot clearly distinguish between the individual elements of the constituents of the compound. Like sugar in water, you cannot clearly say what is sugar and what is water. Sodium chloride, in that sodium chloride is a compound, it is not a composite. You cannot clearly distinguish between the individual elements of the compound. Is it okay? And third is the modulus of the reinforcement should be significantly higher than that of the matrix. Now we will see what are the different examples of composites in nature. Now many materials are effectively composites, right? Natural biological materials are often made of at least two constituents, right? Strong and stiff component is embedded in a softer matrix. Now that is a nature of a composite in which there is a strong and stiff component which is a reinforcement which is embedded in a weaker or a softer matrix. Now let us look into the examples of composites in nature. Like wood. Wood is made up of fibrous chains of cellulose molecules in a matrix of lignin. So in wood, what is the matrix? Matrix is lignin. And what is the reinforcement? It is the fibrous chains of cellulose. So these fibrous chains of cellulose are embedded in the matrix of lignin. So wood is also a composite. Then bone and teeth. These are also example of a composite material. Bone and teeth are hard inorganic crystals which are embedded in a matrix of collagen. Are you getting it? So in bone and teeth, the matrix is collagen, which is a tough organic matrix, right? So this tough organic matrix, which is a collagen, is embedded by means of hard inorganic crystals of bone and teeth. Are you getting it? So bone and teeth consist of hard inorganic crystals, which is embedded in a matrix of collagen. Now this wood, bone and teeth, they will show marked anisotropy. There will be a anisotropic properties obtained from this composite. So these naturally occurring composites of wood, bone and teeth, they will be showing a marked anisotropy. So what is an anisotropy? Anisotropy means the properties are different in different directions. Now for example, let me draw a composite now. right? So let me take a block. Suppose this is a block. So this block is a matrix. Suppose this entire block is a matrix. Okay. So this entire block is a matrix, and in this matrix, suppose these are the fibers. Now you can see all these fibers are aligned in one particular direction. All the fibers are aligned in this direction, right? So these fibers, this can be fibrous chains of cellulose. This will be fibrous chains of cellulose, right? This will be fibrous chains of cellulose in wood. This will be hard inorganic crystals in case of bone and teeth, right? So this is the reinforcing phase, and this red color is the matrix. So matrix can be lignin. So this will be lignin in case of wood, and this will be collagen in case of bone and teeth. So are you getting it? So now this is a composite in which this red color is a matrix. See, this will be lignin in case of wood, and it will be collagen in case of bone and teeth, and it has fibers, right? So these fibers are oriented in particular direction. So this can be a fibrous chains of cellulose, or it can be a hard inorganic crystals. So these are reinforcement. So this fibrous chains of cellulose is reinforcement in case of wood, or it is a reinforcement or hard inorganic crystals in case of bone and teeth. Now as you can see, all these fibers are oriented in this direction. Are they oriented in this direction? No. All the fibers are oriented in this direction. So if I load a composite in this direction, right? If I apply a load to the composite in this direction, which is the direction of orientation of the fibers, I will be obtaining maximum properties, right? मेरा strength modulus इस direction में अगर मैं load करूँगा, so it will be very high because the fibers are oriented in this direction. But if I measure the properties in this direction, the properties will be lowest because the contribution of the reinforcement in this direction is lowest, right? So maximum properties will be achieved in one direction and minimum properties will be achieved in any other direction. Except this direction, if I measure the properties at any angle to this direction, the properties will be lower. So that is called as an anisotropic property, right? That is the maximum properties in one direction and inferior properties in any other direction. So that is called as an anisotropic behavior or anisotropic properties of a composite material. But if you consider a metal will have isotropic properties, that it will have similar properties in all the direction, right? So this is how the composites properties which are occurring in nature will be anisotropic in nature. Now next thing is, why should we go for composites, right? When metals are already existing, why should one go for the composites? Now composites can be very strong and stiff, yet it will be very light in weight, right? Like a composite will provide the similar modulus to that of metals, like a carbon epoxy composite, carbon epoxy unidirectional composite. It will have the properties similar to that of steel, like it will be having similar modulus to that of steel, and it will be having a very high strength as compared to that of steel, but the main advantage is the weight. Are you getting it? So the main advantage is weight. So similar strength, similar modulus to that of the metals, but at a very low weight. So the ratio of strength to weight, इसका weight कम है, density कम है, तो the ratio of strength to weight and the ratio of stiffness to weight will be several times greater for the composites when compared to that of steel or aluminium. Is it okay? Now, do you know what is the density of steel? The density of steel is 7 gram per cc. And what is the density of composite made from carbon and epoxy, right? So the density will be around 1.5 gram per cc or lower than that. Are you getting it? So the composites are lighter in nature when compared to that of the metals, and it will provide similar properties to that of the metals. So we are able to get the similar strength and similar modulus, but at a much lower weight right? Are you getting why I am saying weight? Because the density of a composite is very low when compared to that of a metal like steel, right? And why do we need to have a lower weight? Now you consider a Formula 1 car. The Formula 1 car has to go very fast, and the Formula 1 can go fast only when it is light in weight. Are you getting it? If its weight is very high, it won't be able to travel at a faster rate, right? So for aerospace application, right? So we have to carry the, it can be anything, it can be like satellite, it can be aircraft, or it can be aeroplanes. You have to carry the aeroplanes to very high heights, right, in the space. So in the space or in the sky, you have to take your aeroplanes or aircrafts or satellites has to move into space. So they have to be very light in nature, right? They cannot be heavier in nature. So there the composites are replacing the metals. Next is fatigue properties are generally better than common engineering materials, right? Now what is a fatigue property? Fatigue property can be a static fatigue or it can be a dynamic fatigue. In a static fatigue, suppose there is a composite material and on that composite material if you apply a load, वो composite material पे क्या किया आपने, load apply किया, and if you do not remove that load, then that is a static fatigue. And in dynamic fatigue, suppose there is a composite material and on that composite material, if you repeatedly apply and remove a load, that is called as a cyclic application of load, then that is called as a dynamic fatigue. Are you getting it? So these fatigue properties are better for composites than the engineering metals. Toughness of the composite is often greater. What is the toughness? Toughness is nothing but the energy absorption. What is toughness? Toughness is nothing but the area under the load elongation curve. Toughness indicates how much energy a material will be able to absorb when there is a sudden impact of force on it. Is it clear? So the energy absorption of the composites is higher than that of the metals, and thereby they are replacing the metals. Now composites can be designed that do not corrode like steel. You all know that metals have a problem with corrosion. Composites have the advantage in this property. They can be designed to not corrode like steel. And it is possible to achieve combination of properties not attainable with metals, ceramics or polymers alone. So these polymers, ceramics and metals, these are all matrices, right? And on their own, the metals, ceramics and polymers won't be able to give the properties which can be obtained by reinforcing these metals, ceramics and polymers with a reinforcing material to form a composite. Okay, thank you.